Hello to all of you from around the world. I want to welcome you again to another great edition of Soulivity Today, broadcasting live from our studio right here in the nation's capital, Washington, D.C., and on KMET 1490 AM radio in Southern California. My name is Brian Westley Johnson. It's a brand new week, and we have a brand new show coming up for you today. I'm joined today by Soulivity editor-at-large, D'Angelo Thompson. Hello to you, my friend. How have you been?
Good morning, Brian. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm really, really good. I saw that you had an amazing weekend doing some
Yes.
really, really cool things.
Yeah, I was last week actually, from last Sunday, October 1st through October 5th. I was in Provincetown for the Powder Group. They host something annually called the Artist Summit. So I was a guest
Okay.
speaker and I spoke about the art of pivoting.
Wow. Wow. Oh, and we're going to be talking about that a little bit later on too,
Yes, yes,
because
yes.
you've got you've got something coming up.
See how I
Um,
did
I
that?
see how you did that. That's pretty cool, man. Well, this is another Motivational Monday where we bring you people, news, and information to help you get your week starting right. With everything that's going on in the world, we at Soulivity want to make sure that you have content that keeps you focused on creating a life of joy. We say that it's your best life today. And as I said, this is a very special show for today. It's brand new, but we also have a very special guest today whose story I'm sure will empower you. Let's learn a little bit more about her. Rebekah S. Cole is an editor, poet, and the author of the Miller family trilogy of books, Women's Voices, Jonetta's Death, and Divided by Blood. Now, she writes relatable fiction with diverse characters that you would swear she knows your family personally. Now, best-selling author R.M. Johnson says Rebekah has such an easy flow of writing that readers will really enjoy. She's got something here. Now, her debut novel, Women's Voices, was well received by readers, and it was translated into 4 different languages. And then by popular demand of her readers, Rebekah followed up with a sequel, Jonetta's Death. And then the characters were so popular, it left readers wanting more, and that she concluded her trilogy with Divided by Blood in 2019. Now, in addition to being an author, Rebekah is also a freelance editor who enjoys assisting other authors bring their characters to life. To date, she has edited 8 novels for various fiction authors and continues to build her editing skills. And with that, I am pleased to welcome Rebekah S. Cole to Soulivity Today. Hey, Rebekah, how are you, girl?
Good morning. Thank you for having me, Brian.
Absolutely. We are glad that you're here. As I said before, this is a Motivational Monday, and we were talking offline about the fact that part of Soulivity's mission is to bring the stories of people who are doing what they love to the forefront, so they can inspire other people to do the same. And so, your story is so interesting as an author, as an editor, as a poet. We really wanted to highlight that today. And I know you're dear friends with D'Angelo Thompson. So thank you, D'Angelo, for bringing Rebekah to the show today as well.
My pleasure.
We're specifically talking about turning your dreams to reality, which is something I know, Rebekah, that is close to your heart and is part of your life story. I guess my first question to you, just to kind of like get the ball rolling, is when did you start writing? Did you start writing early in age, or did
Oh, yeah.
you start writing later?
Oh, no. Yeah. Very early. My sisters and I, we spent plenty of summers outside, playing. But I would often sneak away and go back to my room, and I'd be in there reading, writing poetry, writing short stories. And it's like, where's Becky? Oh, Becky's in the room. She's right. So I would say at a very young age, I can recall just writing short stories. My sisters and I would try to write lyrics to songs, make up our own song.
Wow.
We were quite the it was 5 of us, so yeah, we were quite the creative bunch. Back then we didn't have internet or social media. So,
Of course.
I was
Yeah.
always, just writing poetry and short stories, and my grandmother would take us to the library in Chatham she would read poetry. So I guess it's just always been part of my life.
Wow. Do you remember your first published piece of content?
I do. I would say noteworthy. It was a competition on the job. I'm in the financial industry, and it was Women's Month in March, and they wanted
Okay.
people to submit poetry, creative works for Women's History Month. And so I submitted my poem, and it actually won first place. So I
Oh,
would say
right.
that was the most, and that was in 2010. I think that, yeah, that was in
Wow.
2010. Yeah.
Wow. I bet you were just in shock. Like, what?
I
I
was.
won.
Yeah, I was,
And
and it was published and emailed and circulated in the company's newsletter. So I was just very like, "What?"
that's
Yeah.
cool. That's really, really cool. D'Angelo, do you have a question?
Yes, Rebecca, thank you so much for coming on. And I met Rebecca through my sister, actually, Robin. So that's the
Okay.
connection there. Rebecca, I have a question for you. Could you see your books becoming a film or an episodic television show? Do you have, aspirations for that?
Oh, absolutely, from your lips to God's ears.
All right. Hello.
That's definitely been, in my goals. So I do have some connections in the industry, and
Mhm,
I was told to definitely flip my books into scripts and attend the, writers' workshops and, the Screen Actors Guild and get part of, those type of industry related events,
mhm,
and
mhm.
just shop my script around. So I've already flipped Women's Voices, which is my first novel,
Beautiful.
into a script. And I'm often just floored when I see other authors. I'm like, I read that book. Now it's a TV series, right? So as
Yes,
of late, we have The Other Black Girl on Hulu. I'm like, "That's a novel." So I'm
it's
so
so good.
excited.
Such a good
I'm
show.
always
Oh my God.
excited.
Yes. Hmm.
Yeah, it's a great TV series, but I'm always, like, telling people, "This is a novel. This is how it happens."
Right.
Queen
Right.
Sugar, a novel.
Oh,
A novel,
right.
and look, I mean, think it what lasted 7 series? So absolutely,
Hmm.
D'Angelo, that is like the cream of the crop in my vision, but who knows what's really out, what God has planned for me and longevity. But so many people when they read the trilogy, they was like, this could be a movie, this could be a TV series. And I'm like, absolutely. But faith without works is dead. So I have to do the work. I have
Yes.
to
Hello.
do the work to get that out there. So the ball is in my court, and I definitely have that in my projections for 2024.
Mm,
Beautiful.
mm,
Wow.
mm, 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 mm. I can't wait. I'm gonna be in the theater saying, "I know her. I know who wrote that."
Yeah,
you know,
that's exciting. I can't wait.
now you just mentioned your trilogy, which is which you call the Miller Family Trilogy. Before we get into the individual titles, and we may have to talk about those on the next break, what was the inspiration behind, I guess, the first book? Because when you wrote the first book, you weren't thinking of a trilogy then, right?
Absolutely not.
Right. That's
No. No, no, no. I was like, "I'm gonna write this book, and I'm just gonna move on to the next book and the next book," but the readers, the comments, the reviews, um, it really enthralled me, and I was just floored again. I was astonished.
right.
I'm like, "Wait a minute. People wanna know what's gonna happen next? Like, this is amazing." Like, it was just a
Mm,
goal of mine, so
hello.
I con I graduated from DePaul University, and then I'm
Hmm.
like, "What next for me? What's next?" And so I'm
Right.
like, "I need to get back to my writing." So I got
Right.
back to my writing, published my first novel, and I was just absolutely amazed at the comments, and I said, "Well, wait a minute, maybe I can write a part 2. Of course, there's more to these characters, right? It's a
Yeah.
family.
Hmm.
I can like I said, I can envision them on TV, drawing out this whole family drama, a lot of secrets. Sure, why not? So I wrote Jonetta's death. And then when Jonetta's death came out, they were like, okay, now what next? I'm like, are you guys serious? I need to move on. I need to create new characters. But hey, I gave the people what they wanted.
Mm,
Smart
mm,
move.
mm.
Hmm.
Exactly. Very smart move. Very smart move.
Yeah. And then I
Because
published no, I was gonna say then I published Divided by Blood, completing that trilogy. Yep.
right,
Beautiful.
right. And this was just over a period of a few years that you did
Yes,
this.
yes. It was only like 3 years. Um, I mean, and again, it was just like I had to really dig deep, but then once
Hmm.
the story started flowing, I'm like, "Yeah, this makes sense. This could be your family, this could be my family." Lots of families have historical background and secrets
Yes.
buried, and some people take it to the grave, but this family was like, "No, we're gonna get to the bottom of this." So,
Yes.
um, it's often times, our elders pass on, they don't want to talk about painful past
Oh
experiences,
no. Hmm.
especially the women in the family. It's just, but they take it to the grave and leaving so many behind with a lot of unanswered questions. So I
Yes.
wanted
Absolutely.
to kind of take control over that in a narrative, in a fictional way to say, this family needs some resolution.
Hmm. Hmm.
Exactly.
Hmm. Well, listen, we're going to hold it right there. We're going to take a quick break because we got even more to talk with you about, Rebecca. Because again, your story about turning your dreams into reality, I think, is just so important for people to hear. And so, everybody, listen, we got more Soulivity today, more with Rebecca, more with D'Angelo. So, we're going to take a couple of minute break and we'll be right back. See you soon. Soulivity Today is brought to you by Happy Travelers Tours and Old Vine Wine Tours. You can find all of the Satana products at our Go shop at go.soulivity.com.
Have you ever asked the question, if I was to be anything, what would I be? Regardless of money, regardless of status, beyond popularity and fame, living your passion, feeling your life has purpose. Soulivity is a space to nurture that which lives in all of us. A place where work can become play, and doing what we love creates the dreams of a lifetime.
Hey there, we're back here with more on Soulivity today. I just want to remind all of you that you can find more information about all of our beautiful partners like Happy Travelers Tours, Old Vine Wine Tours, and 80 Bites by visiting our website at soulivity.com and going to our Soulivity Today page. Right now, there's some great tours happening at Old Vine Wine Tours, where you can discover the original Sonoma culture and wine experiences. Just click the link that's here that's available, and you could start your Sonoma wine tour experience today. Again,
Nice.
we're back. I know, right, D'Angelo? I know you love some wine. I love some wine too. We're back
Don't leave
with,
me out. I do
I
too.
know, right? We're back talking with our special guest, author and poet Rebekah S. Cole, talking about turning your dreams into reality. I know it's early, but we about to pop a bottle in a second because, you know, we're talking about all this wine. It's happy hour somewhere. Rebekah, you know, you were talking about this wonderful journey that you've been on, and you know the wonderful experiences you've had where you took a leap and you reap some rewards from like having your first piece of content published, and then the beginning of what would turn out to be this trilogy. The question that I have for you is, like, I think everybody who's a creative has the process that they go to create.
Yes. Yes.
Can you
Mhm.
talk a little bit about what your creative process is? That, like, how do you birth these books?
Yes, that's a great question. I'm always asked that question. And to me, when you ask a creative, like, you know, what inspires you? Or, you
Right.
know, how did you come up with such and such? It's always like, I don't know, it's just in me, right? Like I didn't just sit and conjure up, or, you know, when you ask a creative that, it's like it's in my head, it's in my brain.
Mhm.
I can't describe it. Like, what made you come up
Yeah.
with that song? What
Right.
what was that melody in your heart? It was just there. So I get asked that question all the time, and I try to sound intelligent. So let me give it a try.
Love it.
Okay.
My creative process, I'm an observer first and
Mm.
foremost. I do like to people watch and observe people's behaviors. I did have a role at the bank one time where I was doing user behavior analysis. So I
Oh,
would say I'm a good people watcher, right? So I observe personalities, friction, any type of drama. I'm like, that'll be a good storyline. um, and then also, I think I'm the type of friend who's a good listener, and
Mhm.
I give good advice or sound advice, or, you know, advice I would give myself. And that has a lot to do, building friendships, relationships has a lot to do with story development.
Mhm.
Um, and I would also say that anywhere and anytime I'm near water, I get inspired.
Yes.
So
Mhm.
thoughts just come to me sometimes out the blue, and I'll
wow.
have to pull out my phone and take notes or record myself with the ideas because they just come out of nowhere. Sometimes I
Wow.
have to get out of my sleep and write things down. So it comes to me in various forms. But I'm a writer, and I've of course been in school since kindergarten, so I know about writing outlines, and I do have to have I
Mm-hmm.
must have an outline. I must outline each chapter, but sometimes, Brian and D'Angelo, when I'm
Mhm.
in the process of writing, something just takes over me and the story becomes something else,
Yes. Yes.
regardless of my outline. I cannot
Right.
describe that. I was rereading Divided by Blood before I had a book signing in August, and I was rereading it, and I'm like, I said to my husband, I don't even remember writing this chapter. Like, you know, I'm like, something just comes over me
Yes.
and the words just flow, and it has nothing to do with the storyline I thought it was going to be.
Mm.
Mhm.
So
Mm.
the creative process, I think, takes its shape of its own sometimes. So you have an idea, you have a path, and then it just evolves into something far
Wow.
greater.
Wow.
Wow. Wow.
Yes.
That's amazing. That's amazing. D'Angelo, I know you've got a question.
Yeah, Rebecca, I was listening to you and thinking about how I get inspired. It's the same thing. It's by water, especially. A lot of ideas come. And as I write, I outline, but like you, I free write, whatever comes up, I just start to write it. And then hours later, I'm like, oh my God, I finished 3 or 4 chapters. So my question to you, do your characters come to you in dreams? Are they alive in your dreams? And then they
Wow.
Oh, absolutely.
That's a great
They talk
question.
to me. They're in my I have very lucid dreams. I dream in color. I dream that I
Mm,
can fly. I my dreams are so real. Sometimes I wake up and either I'm angry with somebody or I'm happy with somebody. I'm like, wait a minute, wait a minute. That did not happen. Or did it happen? Am I in another dimension when I dream? Which sometimes
mm,
I believe I'm in parallel worlds sometimes,
Mhm.
like, because they're so real. But that's another topic. But anyway, yes, my characters come to me in my dreams. I can be on a conference call at work and they're talking to me. And I'm like, okay, I haven't forgotten about you. I'm going to write that later. Shh.
wow.
Like, they're real to me, these characters. And I remember my mother reading my first book, Women's Voices, and she's like, your characters picked up with their actual personality in every chapter. She's like, how
Yes.
do
Wow.
you do that? And I didn't understand the
Wow.
question. I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, the father remains the exact character in the next chapter or 2 chapters. The mom is the same person. She's like, are all these people in your head?
Wow.
So
I'm
they
like, well,
fully
yes,
develop.
that's where they're coming from. So
Fully develop.
Wow.
so when people ask me about this process and creativity, I'm like, sometimes I don't understand. I'm like, what do you mean? Yes, the father's going to remain the exact same person throughout the whole book. He's not going to change. But she's like, their voices, you could tell their characters, the voices, the thoughts, they're
Mhm,
consistent. And I'm like, right.
mhm,
That's how
Right.
it's supposed to be, right?
Right.
exactly.
Because you see, it's like and D'Angelo, I'm so glad you asked this question, because it's like what I'm getting from you, Rebecca, is when you're getting this download, right? Because I look at it like you're getting this data download about this character. It's a full living, breathing person for you. It's not like
Absolutely.
you're like you're trying to develop this person out of scratch. It's like, no, here's this person. Oh, and I'm just talking about, let's say it's Tony. I'm just talking about Tony, right? Tony's this, Tony's that, Tony's that, these are his, his characteristics. And I don't have to really think about it. It's just this person. And so every time you're talking
Right.
about Tony, it's the same. That's so
Right.
cool.
Yeah.
That's
Mm,
It's
really, really
consistent.
cool.
It has to be. And I have a list of actors that I want to play roles too. So I see them.
Oh.
I
love
envision
it.
them in my head too. Like, I'm like, yes,
Mm.
I know exactly who the mom's going to be, who that sister's going to be, who the child, the daughter's going to be. I have a list. It's all played out in my head. So, and when it's played out in my head, it's in my subconscious. Therefore, of course, I dream about it.
Mm,
Absolutely.
mm,
Mm,
mm, mm,
mm,
mm,
mm.
mm.
Yeah, you
Listen,
need to get an agent. Yes, agent.
right, and have that agent talk to these people that are going to be in your motion pictures. I'm telling you, I'm already ready to buy the tickets now. So, you know.
I can't wait.
Listen, we're going to take another quick break, everybody. We've got more of Soulivity Today coming, so stick right there. When we come back, Rebecca, I want to ask you about AI, because we just had this writer strike. We
Yes.
still got the SAG strike going on. But I want to get your take
Mhm.
on, as an author,
Mm.
your feelings about that. So everybody, listen, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with more of Soulivity Today in just a minute.
6 years ago, when I started Soulivity, my vision was to support everyone in improving their life through the discovery of their passion and purpose, so they could become the best version of themselves, to battle fear and ignorance, and create a better world today. Get inspired to live your passion and purpose. Visit Soulivity.com now.
Do you see me kneeling on this dual roller called Parasetter? It's actually comfortable because of this channel and the softness of the special foam. It feels like my kneecaps are being massaged. When I lie down, my spine is housed in this channel, while the convex rollers massage my muscles. They let go and lengthen. There's a traction effect from my head on the headrest and my mid-back from the rib wrap, which hugs me. When I start the breathing sequence, I feel calm because my cortisol levels are dropping. Lower cortisol means bye-bye constant hunger. Parasetter is 40 inches long and much more comfortable than old-style rollers, but it weighs only 10 ounces. Parasetter, just like Pilates was, is no longer an insider secret. Do yourself a favor. Reset your parasympathetic nervous system. Defeat stress. Lying, sitting, kneeling, or standing. This unique patented roller helps everyone.
Hey, we're back here with another Motivational Monday on Soulivity Today. We're talking with my now good friend, Rebekah Cole. We just having a good old time, y'all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And D'Angelo Thompson, Soulivity editor at large. We're talking about turning your dreams into reality here. I love that. I love that we talked about your process, Rebekah, and that I think it's something that other people can take to heart, because I think one of the things that you were doing, I think D'Angelo, you do it and I do it as well, is we have to open up that door in a certain way. May it be becoming still, going by water, creating that space so that we can hear and do that download from I call it spirit. We're downloading from spirit and manifesting that into reality. So if you missed that part, folks, just go back and rewind. It's gonna be here. D'Angelo, did you have a question before we go? Before I ask this next one?
It's along the same line of what you're about to ask, because I use AI. And Brian, I'll throw the question to you and then we can share.
Sure. So I know, Rebekah, in the days of the 21st century, AI was inevitable. It was going to be coming. It's now this both fabulous tool, but also something that a lot of people are, in my opinion, misusing, right? Because it's just this powerful thing that you can use as a creative force. What are your feelings about this as an author and your concerns in terms of artificial intelligence in the industry of writing, especially given the backdrop of having the longest writer's strike ever in motion picture history? And one of the main concerns was artificial intelligence.
Absolutely. And I'm so glad we're talking about this. This has been at the forefront of my mind since last year, right? I have two thoughts about artificial intelligence. One, it's a beautiful thing.
Yes.
Two,
Yeah.
it can be very dangerous. It could be very dangerous. So on the one end of the spectrum, I love AI for creativity. I love it for doing banners, book covers, commercials, what have you. But on the other end, it is very dangerous because now you have Tom Hanks saying, hey, there's a commercial out there, but that's not me. So this is why they were so concerned about, you have these creative geniuses who can download and make movies based off your features, but you don't have the actual rights to use my image, right? So it could be very dangerous. Anybody could create a billboard saying that you're wanted for a crime and you're not, right? And then on the other end, you could use it for creativity. You could use GPT chat. You can ask machine learning or what have you X, Y, and Z and get an answer. Now, when you start using it to write essays for college classes, when you start using it to write novels, I have a problem with that because
Mm-hmm.
sometimes writers have writer's block. So you mean to
Right.
tell me that I'm suffering through writer's block and you're out here creating a whole novel on AI?
Right.
Like, I have
Right.
an issue with that. I'm
Right.
not going to cut corners. I'm
Right.
not going to
Right,
cut
right.
corners for the creative process. If I have writer's block, then that means I need to take a beat. I need to set it down, get back to it. They'll talk to me in my dreams. I'll get back to it, right?
Right.
But then you
Yeah.
have people saying, I could write a whole book with AI. I don't have to use my brain and suffer through writer's block. So that's why I said I'm at both ends of the spectrum on it because it's beautiful, but it's also dangerous.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
using
And
AI,
D'Angelo, you said, how do you use it?
you
Right.
know, it's funny. I'm taking a class right now with ChatGPT and Midjourney,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
learning what I need to learn about it. And also, I say to my students at Kent State University that don't give me a paper written by AI because I'll know it. Because I know your
Oh yeah.
voice. I know your voice. So, for instance, Rebecca, what I do, like I'm working on 2 books right now. I've been working on it for about a year and a half. And what I'll do now, like yesterday, Sunday, I had 2 chapters. I said, let me try Chat GPT. Let me see what the editing process will be. So I put 1 chapter in. I was like, okay, it's still in my voice. It added words, and edited. And I was like, okay, it's still my voice. So I would say to anyone, use original content. Do not let the device or AI write for you. You know,
Correct.
Write from your
Right.
perspective, your point of view, your voice, and then use it as an editing tool.
Right.
And a lot of people cheat. There's cheaters in the world that are going to use it to their
Oh
advantage
yeah.
and the disadvantage of others. But I say it's another asset, or it's another thing we can use to grow our brand, if you will.
Yeah,
Right.
it's definitely a great tool. And I mean, I'm glad you brought up editing because I'm also an editor. So
Right.
over the span of 2016 when I released Women's Voices to 2019 when I wrapped up the trilogy with Divided by Blood,
Hmm.
in between there, I was editing other authors' novels. So
Mm.
Hmm.
I'm and I was using my brain to do that. I wasn't using an AI tool to do that. So
Right.
it's interesting that you bring that up for editing. And the one thing about the authors who I edit their novels, what they always said to me, Rebecca, you never change my characters or the voice. You never change my voice. And it's
Hmm.
so imperative as authors and writers that we do have a voice, and the world should know and be impacted by that voice and your opinions. It should never like be so drastic. D'Angelo, like you said to the students, I'll know because I know your voice, right?
Right.
Right.
So I know
Right.
this is not your thought process. I know this is not, how you usually speak or drop ideas in class. And I
Mm-hmm.
think with AI, like I said, it could be dangerous because you'll lose that aspect of, well, whose voice is this when you get to writing? Is it the machines or is it yours? So
Right.
starting out, D'Angelo, like you said, just start out if you want to use it for editing purposes or what have you. It has to be original content, right? And then it could do some fillers or what have you. But like I
Right.
said, it is that curve with AI, it could be a
Mm-hmm.
slippery slope.
So absolutely.
One more thing,
Absolutely.
guys, I want to add, Brian, if I could add this, that
Sure.
read the small print. We all sign these contracts for different apps and everything. We have to start reading the small print. I know it's tedious, but when I use ChatGPT, I'll say original content, edit. So it's all
Right.
on record that I wrote original content, edit. And even ChatGPT will come back to you and is like, oh, we can't do anything with this. I'm like, actually, I own it. So original
Right.
content, edit. So it's important that you use those type of terms because once you put it into that system, it's in the system, if you know what I mean.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So
Absolutely.
others
Absolutely.
others can pull from it. So you have to be really careful.
And thank you for that. Thank you for that. Ben, that's a whole nother show that we probably need to do on, and Rebecca will, we'll have you back to talk about,
Oh,
because it
yes.
is important, because things like general releases are going to be
Yes.
turned upside their head, right? Because of the fact that what are you releasing this entity to use your likeness and all and that kind of, can they create characters from the images that you give them, that you release to them? All that. So there's a whole nother story we need to talk about. Listen, we're going to take
Absolutely.
another, we're going to take another quick break, and then we'll be back with more of Soulivity Today. Soulivity Today is brought to you by Assume control over your weight and broader health with the 80 Bites program by Physical Mind Institute.
For 50 years, we've been told, load up your plate with veggies. Load them up. Because all this spinach, look at it, all the spinach is only 100 calories. But avoid fat because a tiny sliver of butter is also 100 calories. So spinach is good, butter is bad, right? But not today. Now we're told, put butter on everything, even in your coffee. Why? Because fat doesn't spike insulin as carbs do. And stretching the stomach with all those veggies unbalances our digestive hormones. So eat healthy today means fat, fasting, stomach control. Right here's the stomach. Forget calories. Hormones rule, and 80 Bites is the solution.
Hey, you can learn more about the free and powerful 80 Bites app by going to soulivity.com and going to our Soulivity Today page, where you can even learn more about it. Remember, it is absolutely free, y'all. So go there, check it out. I'm sure that you will not be disappointed. We're going to go back to our session here on turning dreams into reality with fantastic author Rebekah S. Cole and Soulivity editor at large D'Angelo Thompson. Loving this conversation. I just wish we had some more time to go dig a little deeper into some other things. But before we get out of here, Rebekah, I wanted to ask you, you're probably mentoring younger authors now. What's some of the advice that you give to them if they asked you a question about, how do I begin? How do I stay motivated? What is your kind of responses to them?
Yes, I get this a lot too. And I would say what I tell people when they ask me, how long have you been writing? I say over 20 years. How long did it take for you to publish Women's Voices? Over 20 years.
Yeah.
You know why? Because I've been writing since I was a kid, and you have to really hone your craft, right? So the verbiage and the language that I knew when I was in 4th grade, of course, thankfully has progressed in my adulthood. So what I tell people when I go to book signings, I'm asked I want to write a book. Really? You know what I tell them? Okay, so when are you going to start? Because that's all it takes. You have to start somewhere, and don't overthink it. Don't overanalyze. That's what editors are for, right? You're just the writer. You're the author. You're not supposed to critique your work and edit it. That is what delays it. You hire an editor, reputable editor, or by referral. They do that work. They help you with the story building, the content, the language, and things like that. And I tell them to build your brand. Who do you want the world to perceive you as an author, as a writer? Everything on your social media pages, people are going to go back, as we know, people will dig back on Twitter to 1999 and find something that you were just learning how to tweet. Okay. So they'll go all the way back. So build your brand. Scrub your page if you have to, if you got some stuff on there, because people will dig. I tell them, be a partner. Be a partner. I felt like as I was having writer's block, or I was taking a break from writing novels, I was a partner to other authors because I I edited their books, right? So be a partner in the business that you're in, and you have to promote yourself. You have to definitely drive these results through sales, marketing, things like that. And if you don't know how, that's when you get inside communities and network and figure out how to do that.
Right.
And also be a culture carrier. And by what I mean by a
Mm.
culture carrier is that people should actually want to be around you. So when you
Wow.
say, "Hey, I'm having a book signing," people want to show up. They want to support you. They
Mm.
want to be in the same space as you because the energy that you give off. And they tell a friend that tells a friend that tells an editor that tells a newsletter that and the word gets
Yeah.
out. Like,
Hmm.
"Hey, Rebecca's having a book signing. She's pretty dope. I love her writing," et cetera, et cetera. So I try to really motivate people. I don't have all the answers, right? I just know I love to write. I love to write fiction. So, and I don't
Hmm.
have all the
Hmm.
answers. So I'm in these communities still learning. I'm learning about AI. I'm learning about, partnering and networking and, how to be on local channels, ABC7 Chicago. How do I get part of the weekend news? So I'm still learning
Right.
myself. But you
Hmm.
have to start somewhere. Sit
Right.
down and write. Just write. You have to
Right.
get it out, either on paper or on a computer. Just do it.
Mm, mm, mm,
Yes.
mm, mm.
Yes.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Um, while we've got a couple of minutes here, what's next for you, and where can people find out more information about you?
Well, let me tell you breaking news. So you're
Oh,
hearing it here first.
okay.
next month, next month, I am releasing Soundless Echo, my fourth installment. It is not part of the Miller
Wow.
family it's not part of the Miller family trilogy. It is a standalone fourth installment from Rebecca S. Cole, Soundless Echo, and it
Congratulations.
is a murder mystery thriller.
Okay. So
We should
And
I foresee you coming back on our show. I see this in the future.
yes, yes, I am diving into a different genre because I know I can. I know I
Okay.
can. I love writing about family drama. And of course, I come from a large family. I can pull from many different aspects, but I really want to focus on the missing and murdered Black women in Chicago. They do
Yes.
not get enough.
Mm,
They do not
Thank
get
you.
enough prime time. They do not get enough airtime. They do not get enough recognition. They are missing. I have two daughters. If they were missing, I mean, I'm sorry. I would have sleepless nights. I wouldn't be able to work. I would be,
absolutely.
in turmoil. And
Absolutely.
so their lives matter too. So I said, you know what? This is really bothering me. Human trafficking is real. People don't want to talk about it when it comes to Black girls. They feel like, well, they deserve it. They probably lived a certain life. That's not always the case. It's
Exactly.
Even
not.
if it was,
So,
wouldn't
so
be the case. Yeah. Mm.
right.
Mm,
So it can happen to any one of us. So my novel is definitely fiction, but it's definitely pulling from headlines that should be more headlines about our Black
Yes.
women and girls missing in Chicago and murdered that's in Chicago.
Yes.
wow.
Wow.
Wow. I cannot wait to read that, girl. Um, thank you for being here. Thank you,
Oh,
and
thank you for
sharing your
having
light.
me.
Yeah, sharing your light and love. We have the website that's in our chat for Rebecca Cole. You can learn more about her by going to her website at rebecca-cole-square.site, the square site that's there with a beautiful
Yeah.
picture and
Thank
Hmm.
all of
you. And
her
that's Rebecca
great.
with the K.
Rebecca with a
Rebecca with
K,
a
that's
K.
right. Yeah, exactly. And you can find out about
Yes.
all of her great books. I love the Girls Fish 2 book. Oh my
Oh,
goodness. I'm
that's
going to
my
buy that
daughter's.
for, yeah,
Yeah.
I
So
love this.
we're a family of women who fish. My mother taught us how to fish. And that's my daughter's debut novel, a little children's
Oh.
fiction book. And yeah, my daughter Nadia Cole Whalum, she's 15 years old, Girls Fish 2. a tribute to her grandmother, Trisha the Fisher. And this book is selling like hotcakes. Let me tell you, this book. So we're going to go into the schools and libraries and have book signings. This book is selling. Okay. She
Well,
asked me,
see,
Nadia, she said, Ma, how many books did I sell? She asked me this morning before leaving the school, how many books have I sold so far? So, yeah, that's my
see,
daughter's
like
book.
mother, like daughter, like mother, like daughter.
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
gonna
thank
buy
you
that
for
book for my
having me,
grandbaby.
Brian. Oh, please do. It's a great book.
Yeah.
And we're just trying to introduce fishing to all kids, you know. So,
Oh,
yeah.
this is so great. This is so great. No, thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing your light and love. Would you come back and talk to us when
Oh,
Soundless Echo
absolutely.
comes out? Okay, perfect.
Oh,
Locked in.
absolutely. I cannot wait
you,
to sound this
Thank you
Echo's
so much.
debut.
Oh,
Thank you.
Thank
man.
you.
No, thank you so much. While we've got time left, D'Angelo, why don't we get jump right on into our Soulivity shameless plugs?
Yes.
We did a little preemptive strike when we had our little chat earlier on the art of pivoting. Can you tell people about this fantastic workshop that you just did at the Artist Summit, but you're going to be doing again in New York City?
Mm-hmm. And this is an extended version in New York City. It's October 30th, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. You can see the link here. Please sign up. You're going to leave that room a new person. Let's just put it that way. And also, I'd like to talk about October. October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. So I just want you guys to keep your eyes and ears open and really help people in need. You know, that's it.
Bro, if I can make it to New York for this, I'm going to come see it because you're never too old to learn. You're never too old to experience new things. And pivoting is such an important part of your growth, right?
It is.
Where you understand, okay, this is working, this is maybe not working anymore, or I need to modify it. I need to pivot off that and do something else, right?
Exactly.
Or keep this other part going while you're pivoting to start something new, right?
Yes. What you will find, Brian. What you will find is
you're
that
the master of this, bro.
But you have multiple pivots in life. And that's the one thing I learned in about that room. My last speech was that I would say, how many people have pivoted in their life? I'm like, raise your hand. I like once, 2 times, 3 times. By the end of the conversation, 10 people still had their hands up, which meaning that multiple times in our lives, we have pivots. And a lot of people are campers. They stay in one place. I've never been a camper, and I would never want to be a camper in the sense of non-movement. So movement is very important, hence pivoting. Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And thank you, my friend, for being here.
Thank you. I'll see you tomorrow.
I'll see you tomorrow. Listen, everybody, just want to remind all of you to, again, go visit our Soulivity site at soulivity.com, and you can go to Soulivity TV and then Soulivity Today, and you can learn more about our show, our sponsors, and what's happening. You can even listen to and download the podcast that we have from our previous shows. A lot of great content is on soulivity.com now. You can see Beauty and Gratitude streaming here from D'Angelo's show there as well. That streams 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Soulivity TV is there for your enjoyment.
Yeah,
listen. Listen, everybody. Really appreciate you being here as well. Remember to follow us on social media to learn more about any of our upcoming events, or just to read our inspirational content. There's always tips and how-tos and all that kind of stuff that's available across our social media platforms. Follow us on YouTube to know when we're going live with Soulivity Today as well. Well, we are almost at the end of our show, so I just want to say thanks to you for joining us again for another episode of Soulivity Today. We hope that you learned something, and we hope that you come back and join us every weekday from Monday through Friday at 8 a.m. Eastern for our live broadcast on our Soulivity platform, or you can listen to us at 8 a.m. Pacific time on KMET 1490 AM radio in Southern California for all of you guys on the West Coast. Again, thanks for being here. Really appreciate each and every one of you. D'Angelo, we've got a great show coming up tomorrow where we're going to be talking about, how to stay focused on your dreams. Got some great tips for that. I can't wait to hear what you have to say about that as well. Because I know that we've all, again, it goes with pivoting, right? How do you stay focused on the long-term strategy for your life, so you can create your better life today, because that's what it's all about. Great show today. Really great
really
show.
was. We're appreciative. Thanks, Rebecca. That's cool.
Yeah, she was just amazing, amazing, amazing. I can't wait to read her new book that's coming out next month. Yeah, I know, right? Especially given the fact that it's going to be a murder mystery and around women of color. So, I know it's going to be good. I know it. Listen, again, thanks to all of you. And we'll see you next time on Soulivity Today. See you, bye.
Perfect. Bye-bye.
This work is subject to copyright owned by Affinity Global LLC. Any reproduction or republication of all or part of this is expressly prohibited unless Affinity Global LLC has explicitly granted its prior written consent. All other rights reserved.
Have you ever asked the question, if I was to be anything, what would I be? Regardless of money, regardless of status, beyond popularity and fame. Living your passion, feeling your life has purpose. Soulivity is a space to nurture that which lives in all of us. A place where work can become play, and doing what we love creates the dreams of a lifetime.